Good morning, everyone. This is Cassie Stumo. I am the Senior Digital Marketing Specialist here at EAC. Thank you for joining us today. We will start off with a quick introduction of EAC, and then Kurt Peterson and Rob Miller will introduce themselves. Everyone will get a recording of the session pending any technical difficulties. There will also be a short survey that appears once the webinar is over. So hang tight once we're done and drop your questions in the queue along the way, and we'll answer those after the presentation. I'll pass things along to Kurt so he can get started.
All right, thank you, Cassie. So quick introduction for those of you who don't know EAC. Our mission is to transform the way companies design, manufacture, connect to, and service their products. As a company, we've got a 20-year history of helping engineers get the tools that they need to do better at their jobs. So got a long history working with enterprise data, working with CAD software, and working with IoT. So a little bit about the panelists that we're going to be presenting on today. My name is Kurt Peterson. I'm the IoT Technical Account Manager for EAC. I've got about 5 years history in industrial automation. I was a solution architect for PLC, HMI, and software on that side of things. And accompanying me today is Rob Miller, the VP of our Connected Solutions.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Yeah, this is Rob Miller. I'm in our Burnsville office, solo and disinfectants in hand. Standing by to work with Kurt, walk through some great things that we can help you with regarding the use of augmented reality to solve some actual pressing real-world problems that are challenging all of us right now, for things like how do you deal with keeping your factory running or your systems online with remote staff and experts that can't or don't travel. We do a lot of stuff around strategy and helping connect those dots with solutions to solve those problems. I'm excited to talk through this with you guys today. So one of those things is we're actually going to start off with a survey from here. So I think Cassie's ready to kick that over. Is that right, Cassie?
Yes, that is right, Rob. I'm going to go ahead and launch a poll. We would just like to see where everybody is at and where their perspective is on AR during this time. So please take the next 10 to 15 seconds to answer. The question is, I would describe our perspective on augmented reality as, and you've got a few answers to choose from. These are all obviously relative to your situation. The first answer is, we're already using AR and looking for more ways to use it. We're evaluating an AR tool that would fit our needs. We're not sure about ROI or positive business outcomes yet. AR is not an initiative for us. We just want to learn about it. So as I give just a few more moments longer to answer, I'll be able to show the poll results so everyone can see where others are at in this point, or at this point with AR as well. Some of our customers we talked to are really starting to get excited about using these kinds of technologies, and some are just not there yet. EAC has all the means to get you started, and that's why we're here today to kind of feel out where our virtual audience is at, and hopefully we can get you pointed in the right direction. So it looks like most have their answers in. I'm going to go ahead and close the poll. And we're going to share the results. So as you can see, it looks like most of you are evaluating an AR tool right now that would fit your needs. So I'm going to go ahead and pass things back to Kurt so he can start the presentation.
All right, thanks, Cassie. So we're talking about using augmented reality in this case for remote assistance, but why do we need to do so, right? So what are the challenges that we're running into as an industry and as a world right now that are kind of necessitating that tool set, right? So the first thing we talk about is the worker skill gap. So generationally, we're coming up on this moment where there is a huge amount of turnover, where operators who have been at their stations, learning on the job and functioning really admirably are starting to retire. And the next generation is coming in behind them. And it is very difficult to facilitate the transfer of knowledge that you gain over 30 years experience, right? So how do you do that? How do you facilitate taking somebody who's been at the station or working on this piece of equipment for a long time and knows everything about it? How do you get that information out of their head and into the new generation? Products are also getting more complex, right? As product development evolves, nothing is getting simpler, everything is getting more feature rich, and that comes with a number of challenges from the support side in terms of complexity of the product, and the way that things can break and will break, right, is no longer as simple as it used to be. And the other part of it is the market is getting more demanding, right? Customers are asking more and more from their suppliers and their products. So how do we keep up with that as makers? How do we keep up with the demand for more and more and more, quicker, faster, stronger? One other demand that we're dealing with at the current kind of state is also, we're in the midst of a global pandemic, and that is instituting some pretty unique challenges to us too, right? In terms of travel bans, in terms of limited, social distancing, everything like that. That is definitely something we're going to have to be aware of, but I don't want to take the focus too far away from the core of our message, right? Sometimes you can't travel in the case of today's environment, but at the end of the day, if you can correctly utilize your local and remote resources effectively to avoid travel, you're still winning, right? Whether you have a global pandemic or not. Rob, do you want to talk about some of the challenges that are kind of critical and present in today's exact moment?
Yeah, absolutely. And what's interesting is these really aren't new problems. They're just super hyper focused right now because of the limits to travel and distance. And it kind of runs the spectrum of stuff that EAC has done over the course of 20 years. The idea of keeping your enterprise product data systems, execution, operation, shop floor stuff, keeping that stuff running and making sure that your organization can access the information that's in there while they're working from home or in remote factories and you're limiting travel. That's what we do. We take care of wind chill and ThingWorx and systems like that. So shop floor stuff, your product data management, which is the fourth bullet down there. How do you manage changing the design of a product and be able to facilitate that across a distributed organization? How do you keep track of your high expense assets? Supply chain stuff. Is my equipment running? Do I have the ability to see a problem coming? And I might have a technical expert someplace else to solve a problem, but I can't get them into the shop. So how do you close that gap? And as we all, EAC's got a deep history in helping companies design products and facilitating that process. We sell software and tools to help with that. But now as engineers and distributed teams try to solve real world problems for making a new design, how do you share that information and do design reviews and continuous engineering in a smooth and accelerated fashion with a distributed team? And the last point on here about having a remote and isolated expertise. So you've got somebody who knows how to take care of this particular piece of equipment. Kurt was talking about workforce folks who have a wealth of information in their head, but they're sequestered due to travel bans and limited access. And you need to still be able to do service or troubleshooting on your product or your shop floor, even just how to run or operate equipment. And that's really the focus of today. So EAC touches the spectrum of all of these topics, and we sell and implement, educate, strategize on using those tools. But today we're focused very clearly in on getting to a point of discussing Chalk, which uses augmented reality to directly support closing this gap and deal with the challenge that's very pressing. And by the survey at the beginning of the call here, it sounds like many of you are neck deep in trying to figure out, how do I do this? How do I justify it? What do I want the outcome of this to be using something like Chalk? And that's really the core focus. So go ahead, Kurt.
Yeah, no, thanks, Rob. So yeah, the product we're talking today is called Vuforia Chalk, which is based in the Vuforia augmented reality platform. Basically, this is a tool, you can think of it as FaceTime on steroids, but there's a couple of nice things, nice feature set that goes along with it that really kind of accelerate it from there and take it to the next level on that. So what people are using Chalk for in today's world is using their existing resources better. So if you have a resident expert and he's been working on the field or she's been working in the field forever, how do you get her knowledge across the world You can export that expert's opinion and experience by using Chalk to instruct people around and technicians around the globe how to do simple operations. You can reduce travel. So how many times have you sent out one of your field service team and the fix has been, 10 minutes, signing the safety form was 12 minutes, and then you're back on the plane, right? So that's a lot of travel. If you're guaranteeing uptime or if you're guaranteeing performance for your customer, that's a huge cost to you just for a very simple fix that maybe could have been accomplished if you had the right tool set. And one of the other strengths is its intuitive guidance in this format. So, phone centers are great for conveying information of a certain type, but what's better than taking a phone out onto the shop floor and showing somebody who built the machine exactly what's going on? So that's the strength of Chalk. So how it works is Chalk will use a mobile phone or tablet to identify the physical world and then be able to draw annotations over the physical world and have them stick on it so that as you move around, you keep the annotations right exactly where they are so you can point things out, you can maneuver operators around the business, and we're going to be showing some of that with our EAC factory. So you ready to switch over to the EAC demo factory, Rob, and show everybody what Chalk's all about?
Let's give it a go.
All right, live demo time. So what I'm showing on screen now, so we're stepping into demo mode, right? So my name is Kurt. I'm in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and I am monitoring EAC's, remote factories using real-time data stream through the ThingWorx IoT platform. And I can see that, we're doing all right in our factory over a historical bit, but right now I can see we're not running. Our motor is off. Our run rates are non-existent, so I'm saying something is wrong. So because I'm able to do this remote monitoring, I want to kind of reach out to the factory. This actual physical location is out in Minnesota, and I want to call up the operator there and kind of find out a little bit more about what's going on. So Rob, you're going to be our remote operator for today. Thanks for stepping in for that. So let's try to troubleshoot this and see what's going wrong. Why aren't we running?
Yeah, so Kurt, I'm out on the shop floor and I can see the dashboard that's up on the wall, and I can see that the rates are all at 0, but it looks like all the wires are connected together, but nothing's turning. So now what?
This is a good question. Have you pushed the motor start button? Every time we have a start up or start down, we have the standard procedure, and you know that as the operator. But what have you done the red button press?
Yeah, so I did that. I mean, but nothing changed. I mean, do you have the motor turned on your end? It looks like it's turned off on the mashup on the wall.
Yeah, let's when I've tried to turn on the motor, I'm showing from my remote control that the motor is on, but we can tell from our live feed, and you can tell me, is the motor running?
No, I didn't hear anything change. The mashup on the wall, it shows that it's on, but I mean, you can, no, nothing's going.
Okay, so something's obviously wrong. So why don't we hop on a Chalk session and try to troubleshoot this a little bit more.
All right, so you want me to kick, all right, I'll start it from my end and I'll hit the show my view button.
Yep, give me a call.
All right. Okay, it says share my video. So I'm doing, all right, it's telling me to scan the space and I'm doing that. All right, so it looks like it's hooked up on this end. Can you see what's on my phone?
Yep, I can see it. So basically what Chalk is doing, right, is Chalk took a glance and used its camera on Rob's phone to anchor this augmented experience. So now when it sees the robot, when it sees the factory, the auger, it's actually locating that in real space that we can now draw digital annotations on it. So I'm going to show you. So I saw you press this red button.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. I drew a circle. So I think the green color is mine.
Okay. Yep. And just to be careful, I'm going to put us into low bandwidth mode. So in case we lose any sort of cellular signal or anything like that, if we hop off of Wi-Fi, we're still in good shape. So I think, so that's the problem that I can see right now, Rob. So that button that we've indicated right there is not the right button to start the motor. So if you back out of the factory a little bit so we can see the whole thing, what I want you to do is I want you to go around this end. And if you go around to the back side of the robot there and look on the auger, see, now we see a different motor start button.
Oh, okay. So, all right, well, all right, I pushed that button. You can see it. So, all right, there's a green check mark. Still no go though. I mean, the wall, the green lights are on for the motor, but it's not running.
Okay. That is a good one. That's a head scratcher. But I think there's one more thing we can check. Why don't we go over to our faux control panel? Why don't we take a look at our PLC rack? Yep.
All right.
The first thing I want you to check is that your Ethernet cable is plugged in all the way. It looks like it is, but I want you to give it a little tug for me.
Yep, that's good.
That's good. All right. And at the PC, is it good too?
All right. Yep. Now what?
All right. Okay. No, I do see something else. So do you see this little control switch that's right there?
Oh yeah.
So it looks like it's in the stop position, but we should change that switch to be in the up position or the run position.
Okay.
So if we go ahead and change that, and then go ahead.
Oh, we got... Okay.
Things are running now.
Okay, but it still says that the motor is turned off up on the wall. So now what?
Okay, why don't you, I'm gonna go back to my remote panel here and see if I can't reinitialize the motor from my ThingWorks dashboard here.
Okay. All right, so stuff is moving here and it looks like the matchup on the wall is starting to show numbers. We're below performance, like the good part rate is red. So you're probably slow, but it's running.
Hey, all right, well, it looks like we fixed the motor problem. Now we're gonna have to do a little bit more diagnosis on the ThingWorks side to make sure we hit, our scheduled rate, but it looks like we solved the problem here.
All right, awesome. So now what, should I hang up?
Yeah. So one other thing I want to show, after we end a session, we'll also provide a number of snapshots. So you can see on my screen here, every annotation that we did, we can export the picture of this. So if you were doing a standard operating procedure and you wanted to, reuse this chalk session, you could export these images, send them to your field tech, and now they have a step-by-step guide for whatever operation they want to go, right? So in this case, you got to check the red button first. If it's not that, it's the PLC. You got to check the Ethernet cable and then the run switch. So that's kind of our chalk demo. How was that? Was that easy, Rob?
Easy enough. It was like making a phone call on my end.
Yep. So one thing I think that's important to notice, PTC just announced today that chalk will be made free to use because of the extenuating circumstances around the COVID-19 outbreak. Chalk will be free to use until something like June. So for information to come, if you want to get your hands on that tool, you are now able to start using it today.
Cool. All right. So I think, Kurt, you wanted me to talk a little bit about this three-legged stool picture. Is that right?
Yeah. So that's kind of our chalk demo using the remote factory. The remote factory can do a lot of things, but I think we should, kind of pivot out back and talk about a broader picture as we can see it today.
Sure thing. All right. So you're in control of the factory, and while that's running in the background, if you want to turn off the motor from your end, just to put that in hold, then it doesn't generate extra noise on the presentation.
Yep. So goodbye, factory. We'll let you just.
Yeah. So for those of you who are in controls or factory automation, or you have a factory, I do want to call out a very clear point. There's no magic going on here. This is literally Kurt in Michigan operating our factory here in Minneapolis with a shared dashboard that can email things out and tell everybody here's what's going on. So to that end, our approach to the industrial Internet of Things, IoT, augmented reality, all of that, has really all along been about a three-legged stool. And the three-legged stool to us points to these three pieces. You've got to have a strategy or a business case. What is it? Why is it? How do you put the tools together? And EAC's got a long history in understanding these tools and product development tools and some really substantial partnerships to be able to say, all right, what are the right tools for that business outcome? So we do provide the ability to connect the dots, to do the implementation, to say what is the real goal of this, and then what are the right tools and how do you get them in place quickly? Because we do have a very strong, deep partnership with PTC, who is the company who wrote Chalk. So that's the strategy aspect. The second aspect of this is having connected things. On the table in the view that I think Kurt is still sharing, or may not, but anyway, there was a yellow hard hat with an augmented reality wearable headset there. So that is a smart thing, right? It's an Android phone that has a wearable dashboard in your eyesight. We also do things with other augmented reality apps, functionality through the HoloLens and through the iPad and the kind of stuff that you just saw live with the Chalk demo. Or things like a smart and mobile product. So the truck is an analog to that, and that's a sensorized truck that we can put data and sensors and connectivity in and be able to take data and push that to a platform, which then ingests that data and pushes it out to informed, or in order to inform your enterprise in specific roles. You can build mashups very, very quickly and design them in many different ways. And we see the combination of those three legs, strategy, smart things, and platform, as critical to addressing this fad, not a fad, this thing that is the IoT. And we're experts in all three of those pieces. We provide services and consulting and design and software in all areas. So that's really what we want to be able to do, is help you connect the dots between here's a problem and that's a solution I need, and what's my positive business outcome to solve this problem, and how can I do it quickly. So that's kind of a high level summary of this three-legged stool approach. Now, I think we're nearing the end of our content. Wanted to at least lay that piece out there and say we can address a lot of different needs across the product development system. We do assessments, we do strategy, we do all of it potentially remotely as necessary. You just saw two guys working on a factory that's physically in Burnsville, people scattered around the metro area, and a guy working on it from Michigan. And we've got people connected from all over the place on this call. So this is the space that we live in. We have for a long time helped companies transform the way they design, connect to, and service their products. So now for the call to action, I'm going to let Kurt and Cassie, I think, bring this around the corner. And I think, Cassie, also people could type in questions to the chat message if they wanted to on the UI for our webinar today. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. So if anyone has questions now, please put them in the queue as we are wrapping up. And Kurt, did you want to talk to these 3 points and then I'll take over?
Yeah, basically, so that was our quick and easy Chalk demo. Next steps that you can take, right? These apps are free to download from either the App Store or Google Play. So when I say these apps, I'm talking about Vuforia Chalk and also its big brother, Vuforia View, which is a more fully fledged augmented reality experience viewer. And so please download those, take them for a spin, see how they go for you. And then be thinking about the ways that you can use them most, right? What is your use case? If you're a machine builder and you've got a large service team, right? Are you going to use this to help train your operators or to make your service calls better? Or are you going to put Chalk in the hands of your customers so they can utilize you more directly as an expert resource, right? So think about the ways that this is going to apply to your business at the end of the day. And then if you still have more questions or you'd like to learn more from us, schedule time to meet with the EAC. Find some open holes on your calendar and shoot us a note. There will be a follow-up email that will have some contact details on that. So we are at your disposal and happy to help where we can.
Great, thank you. Just as Kurt said, we have just been told by PTC on this morning's call that we will be offering Chalk for free until June to help subside the negative effects of the COVID-19 to businesses worldwide. I'm still getting details in right now, but it does look like I can send a link to everyone that's on the call today in the follow-up email that you'll be receiving. This is huge for PTC to offer this software to anyone for free, unlimited use until June. So please take advantage of this technology while you can. And after that June timeframe, we can keep you in touch with somebody at EAC that can help you continue the use of Chalk with purchase. So thank you so much, Kurt and Rob, for that presentation. I'm not seeing any questions come through, but again, if you have questions, you can reach out to me and that email that you'll be receiving later on today.
Hey, Cassie.
Yes.
I just want to dovetail into that with this morning's announcement and the fact that, I mean, you've always been able to download Chalk for free and use it in a short time window anyway. With that, it might be a new tool to people and getting people started on it. So EAC is absolutely here to help get you started quickly. Like I was trying to point to previously, the three-legged stool, the idea of what's the strategy, how do we implement, how do we use, what do we do with this, how does it connect to our enterprise? And this is, the Chalk is very much a sliver of this big picture. So we want to be able to be here as a trusted partner in all of these pieces. So even if you're at the point of starting with Chalk and playing with augmented reality, we want to really help take you from cool to a substantial business impact. So that's what we're here to do.
Yes, and Rob is exactly right. I do want to thank you guys so much for attending today. And just a reminder too that survey will appear once we shut down the webinar. So thanks again, everyone, and have a great rest of your day.